Hey, folks, welcome to InTheMoneyStocks.com's daily analysis video, brought to you by the creators of proprietary price, pattern, and time methodology. Learn the PPT strategies and profit for life. My name is Gareth Soloway, Chief Market Strategist here at InTheMoneyStocks.com. All right, everybody, into the action we go today on this Tuesday, December 21st, 2021. Great rally on Wall Street today, folks, and again, it is paying us here in the short term. We just took a good profit on SE. Look at the move on this thing today, and again, that's exactly why I flipped my position. We talked about this on the daily chart when I did it. I gave you guys that that trade there where we flipped it. We went where we were short. We got out of our short. I went long. Today, taking over a 12% profit on it. And honestly, it could go higher. But this was the easy gain. This is the no-brainer gain. Boom, boom, boom. Done with it. I'm ready to move on. Now, I am holding my TNA. TNA, we are up nicely on this. Big day in the Russell today. The TNA is up almost 8%. I decided to hold this because I still think it's got more upside in this, especially as we inch closer to Christmas, all right? Christmas being on Saturday. Friday is Christmas Eve. I do believe the markets are closed on Christmas Eve, so markets will, the last trading day of the week will be Thursday this week, all right? So really interesting stuff here, folks. I mean, fun to be in a market that has these huge moves. It, again, gives us so much opportunity. Like, think about that. You know, basically a couple-day hold, SE pays us out 12 and change percent. TNA, we were accumulating, boom. There it goes to the upside. I just added to my RCON position. You guys saw that. This is a China stock. I decided now was the time to add to it because look at this chart on the daily chart. You can see trend lines. These old trend lines are inconsequential from a long time ago. But look at how this thing fell and look at where it is. I mean, if there's one time to add, it's this period right now. And the reason I say that is because we continue to see big updates. As nasty as yesterday was on the Chinese stocks, today is amazing. Absolutely amazing, folks. Absolutely amazing. So again, very important to kind of keep an eye on here. If we look at Alibaba today, a full 100% reversal of yesterday's down move. And again, that's very bullish. When you get those type of reversals, that is very, very bullish. If you look at Baidu today, take a look at BIDU, near the highs of the day, up over 5%. Then you get to some of these second-tier companies, and they are also having monstrous moves today, IQ being one of them here. Let's bring up that chart. That is up almost 15% on the day. And again, that could be, listen, I've said this before and I'll say it again, one day doesn't change a trend, but it could be the start. These are the types of things you want to see to pick a bottom. So again, watch that. Very interesting to see. TME today up over 5%. Not as big of a move there. Bilibili, I mean, this is another pretty big one. And if I could type in the symbol right, you could see nice move up of 11%. Same thing, almost a full reversal of that nasty down day there. And again, you could just go through a bunch of these Chinese ones, and they're up 5 to 15% across the board. That is awesome to see. Pinduoduo up 7 to 8%. So again, good to see. Now I want to see them have a secondary up day. And again, that's really why. So we're at levels on RCON, considering the technology they have. And this is a Chinese stock. It deals with the oil and gas industry. It has some very interesting technology in terms of, you know, getting a certain amount or monitoring wells and so forth like this. It's very unique technology. And so, again, that was my thesis behind here is all right, my original entry was like at $4 and change. It was only 0.4% of my portfolio. I hadn't added to it because, obviously, it's a very small stock. It's been going down, down, down. Today, I basically tripled up on it, meaning that I bought double the share size that I just didn't buy the same amount of shares I held. I bought 2 times. So I picked up more and more, double. Essentially, it's hard to say double because it makes it sound like it's doubling it, but it's actually kind of a triple in that respect, bringing my average all the way down. When this thing goes, I mean, this thing could have a meteoric up day, already having a nice little up day, but look at that chart. Look at that chart. By the way, this one got caught in that same sort of situation. They actually did a secondary all the way at the highs, and then obviously the issues with the Chinese stocks coming back in. But it was worth a shot here, especially when my whole net position is less than 0.5% of my portfolio, even after adding, because price had depreciated so much and profits have continued in the account. All right, so that's where we stand on that one. I want to show you guys Chegg here real quick. Chegg, it continues to hammer on resistance here. It's trying to break above. Take a look at this trend line right here. Pivot high right here, and let me get rid of that. Pivot high, and look at what we pierced yesterday. Can we close above it? Basically, any close above $30.30 would be a close above on a daily basis. It's a nice cup and handle pattern. It's just trying to break out. This thing could have another $2 of upside, maybe even more than that. I mean, really upside potentially all the way back to this area, which is around 34 and change. And again, we're in with a great average on this one as well. All right, so again, big gains across the whole entire market sectors today. It was really a rally on type day. And yeah, I mean, it's a nice to see more profits. I love banking some profits going into the Christmas and New Year's holidays, and that's what we're going to continue to do here. All right, let's go back to the intraday chart here. I want to flip back to the intraday on the spiders, and we'll just kind of breeze through it here. SPY. So again, SPY initially gapped up, had a little bit of weakness early, and then this is where it just kind of went to the upside. One thing I'd like to point out, with the markets closing in about 19 minutes, look at the volume. So you're definitely starting to see that volume diminish as we get into the holiday of Christmas coming up this weekend. And then my guess is, if nothing crazy goes on, Christmas into New Year's, you'll see relatively light volume as well. Now, that's a positive bias for the market, all right? There's no doubt about it that is a positive for the overall market. So again, continue to, I would say if nothing freaks the market out, if Omicron still is where it is, then you continue to kind of say to yourself, okay, neutral to upside bias at least until the new year, and then I think you see further downside coming in to the charts. Okay? Let's go to the QQQ real quick here. Take a look at the Qs, up almost 2%. Now, the Qs are fading a little bit off the highs here, but still having a very, very nice day. And again, just humongous upside here. If we look at the chart, you negated yesterday's down move, and then look at where you stalled on this. I think this is so cool. You have this pivot high right here, and look at that right there. That is resistance. If you break through that on the Qs, there's a chance you could go all the way back up here going into the new year. But again, I'm hard-pressed to – I don't even know if we'll get up that high. I would guess that the market could get choppy to sideways to slightly up. I'm somewhat skeptical that there's enough buyers out there to really propel it up significantly, all the way back to that 398, which would be another $10 upside on the QQQ. All right, so we'll continue to follow that one. Let's go over to the daily chart here and kind of take a gander at that. Daily SPY, remember what did we do yesterday? We got very close to this support line and this trend line upsloping, and sure enough, we had a nice reversal, followed up today with good upside. On the spiders, I think the spiders can go up here, which is only another $5, less than $5 of upside, but I would say that's your short-term target on the S&P going into year-end. I don't know if we hit it this week or next week, but for me, thinking again, seeing the negativity in the charts, seeing everything that I'm seeing, I'm in the camp of saying, generally, I'm expecting further downside, even though around the holidays you have to think there could be a little bit of a bounce. So that would be your upside there. I think if we get all the way back up here, they could break the market out at that point, because you have a triple top up here now. Pivot high, and pivot high here, maybe even a quad top if you count this high here. But bottom line is, the more you hit on upside. So my guess is, considering the down cycle, this is where you're going on the chart. So you still have more upside on the S&P. I just don't know if it's going to be in tomorrow, or if it's going to be Thursday, or is it going to be next week with the light volume. Okay, let's go to the Qs chart real quick. Big bounce there on the Qs. Again, same thing applies here. You've hit this area here. You pierced it here. Here you hit it, pulled back. Here you hit it, pulled back. So again, if we get back to that range, then you probably go higher. You could test this high all the way up here, which also matches here, this upsloping trend line, but I'm skeptical that's going to happen. I think you do have a little bit more upside, just like the S&P. I don't think today was a one-and-done scenario. Doesn't mean tomorrow can't be a pullback day, but for the most part, I would expect a little bit more upside. I just don't think we're getting back to those levels. Taking a look at the Russell, I still think the Russell has more upside today, considering how oversold it is. You're seeing some of these small caps starting to bounce, these mid caps starting to bounce, and then the bank stocks are having a very strong day today, considering yields are higher, and that all can bring really upside on the Russell. Where I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I know it sounds kind of crazy, but by year end or really early in the new year, you could be all the way back up here, and that would still not be back to this high pivot, which would lead to another move down on the Russell most likely. All right. Going quickly to the Bitcoin chart. We're just going to look at this with Bitcoin chart today. We did get a pop today. Actually, you know what? I do want to bring up the other Bitcoin, so bear with me. So I quickly wanted to show this chart right here, folks. This was that triangular pattern that we were talking about, and you did get a short-term breakout on Bitcoin here. So as long as you stay above this down-sloping trend line, Bitcoin actually should have further upside. I've been saying for a while, especially to Verified Investing Crypto, that I believe Bitcoin's headed to 54,000 before it has another leg lower. And this chart, again, with the breakout on this 15-minute chart, does look like that's the case, or at least the start of it potentially. So let's keep an eye on this, but that's why I wanted to show you guys this chart, because again, it does show us that wedge pattern and the breakout right here today, which, by the way, notice it's coinciding with the overall move in the stock market. So as the stock market grinds sideways or up, tends to see further upside on Bitcoin and kind of re-leveraging instead of deleveraging. All right, let's take a quick look at gold here as we flip through gold. We got about 13 minutes until the market closes. Gold is having a flat day. That's fine. I still think there could be a small pullback in gold to this gap fill, but you're really just staying inside of this wedge pattern. Nothing new to report there. If we flip to this chart, same thing on silver. Here's your double bottom. Maybe a little consolidation needed. Overall, keep your maintain your longer-term bias of bullish on silver and gold. But just be aware. I mean, again, choppy sideways action, that could be bullish consolidation starting, and you could chop around, again, depending on what interest rates do and everything. I like the fact that interest rates are popping today and gold is actually holding its own. It tells you that it's starting to react a little bit more, again, towards that inflation bias as well. Lastly, oil, folks. Oil with a nice bounce back. We had that nasty sell-off yesterday early, then it came back. Right back up today. You could almost make a case for a little down-sloping trend line right here as well. We'll see if you get through there. If you do get through there, you still could go back up here. I just don't like the pattern quite as much as I did. By the way, good bounce on CGC today. This thing got crushed yesterday, 100% negation of that down move yesterday. They got downgraded yesterday, and I was kind of joking to the live day trading room saying, you know, if you zoom out on this chart, look at this chart, right? So CGC Canopy Growth was at $55 a while back. Now it's at, basically as of yesterday, it was as low as, $8 and change, $8.50. It's like, okay, what analyst? I mean, where do these analysts get off downgrading a stock when it's fallen from $55 to basically $8 and change? I mean, now's the time to downgrade it. I mean, that's what I never understood that about these analysts. I mean, it's like okay, talk about being late to the party and probably a great contrarian indicator. The only possibility is that they're downgrading it to get volume in it on a flush so that someone or some entity can accumulate it significantly, which is always a possibility. No doubt about that. That is a possibility. It's either that they're ridiculously bad at their job or that it's an ulterior motive there, and which either one could be. I honestly don't know for sure. All right, other than that, I mean, again, good price action. NVIDIA's having a good bounce today. Nice little bounce on NVIDIA. Markets, again, are creeping into the end of the day with about 10 minutes to go. I'm going to say goodbye today to you guys as we watch this market. And, again, trading just off the highs of the day, 1.5% gain on the S&P 500. Let's see what happens in these last couple days of the week, folks. Have a good one.